Hello and welcome to the International Pentagon Challenge. My name is Kyanite and together we'll be embarking on a very special Football Manager journey where we'll aim to try and win every major international competition in all 5 continents, forcing our hand to play with hundreds of different types of players and most importantly hopefully create loads of awesome different types of tactics along the way. Once that's complete, only then are we allowed to set our sights on the biggest of all goals, the FIFA World Cup. How many nations will we have to manage until we work our way to the top? How many dodgy names will we have to pronounce along the way? So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hopefully we're going to have a lot of fun along the way. Alright, hello everyone and welcome to episode 6 of the International Pentagon Challenge. So, the last time we met, we just about got past the Egyptian under-23s. We went through on away goals. I've got no idea how they pulled it back from being 2-0 down in extra time. It was shambolic defending from us, to be honest. But they kept playing so many direct balls forwards that eventually our defence, who aren't very good aerially, were eventually going to crack. And they did in that fashion. But who cares because we're through. We're up against Burkina Faso now, who I think on paper, I think we're probably slightly better than them. But we still can't really rule them out because we've not exactly been at our best either. And it is quite difficult given the fact that at under 23 level, you can't really scout your opposition well. So we're not really able to prepare tactically very well for these games, which I think, you know, just adds to the challenge. So ironically, once we move away from an under 23 team, it might actually become easier, even though we'll be managing at a higher level, because we'll have more resource to like scout opposition teams and stuff. But yeah, obviously the African Cup of Nations, like the actual African Cup of Nations, happened whilst you guys were gone, and Morocco actually won that one. We can take a look at how Congo themselves did, if I can figure out how. So as we can see, DR Congo were drawn into Group D. They actually lost the Congo rivalry to Congo. It was like a 1-0 loss, and they still somehow qualified because of some strange third rule, probably like the 2 best teams that finished third or something with the most points and best goal difference end up going through. But unfortunately for the Democratic Republic of Congo, they didn't really last past the second round. They took the game into extra time against Ghana, which probably ain't too bad, but in the end it wasn't meant to be. And then all the way through to the end, it was Morocco who may have won their first ever African Cup of Nations. Don't quote me on that, but I can't really see anything on this right-hand side. They certainly haven't won one since 1982, so congratulations to Monaco. You'll have also noticed as well that we have a under-23 friendly fixture scheduled against Tunisia. Obviously, that would be pretty useful if we end up qualifying past Burkina Faso to try and keep fitness levels up and so on. Now, team changes. Now, 2 players who were with us in the last episode have unfortunately left us, and those players, as you can see, I've applied for the Angola job as well. I don't think I'll get it, but it's worth a try. Kalala, who you might remember, he's suddenly decided he no longer wants to play for Congo, and Chiembe has also, if you remember him, he was playing right back, and to be fair, did a good job in the first game, did a bit of a shit job in the second game. They both kind of decided they no longer want to play for Congo, so they have actually both been replaced by 2 very decent players. Now, Michael Affetti is a player, or Michi Affetti is a player you'll have seen before. To be fair, I think he's probably better than Chiembe. Plays for Norwich in that photo, but actually plays for Wimbledon in real life. Lacking match fitness, but a pretty decent player all round in terms of being a defender, of course. And the other new lad who has come in fact, we brought in 2 new lads, but Rodney Congolo is one of them, as you guys can see on paper. I've got no idea how I never even knew this guy existed. Probably alongside Bangu, or not Kabangu. We got Bangu and Kabangu in midfield. Alongside Bangu, who of course plays for Fiorentina in Serie A. 2 great central midfielders. Congolo, in terms of, obviously before we were playing Kabangu as our kind of defensive midfielder, but Congolo's even better. So 12 work rate, 12 positioning, 13 tackling, 11 marking, great stamina for a ball winner, superb strength, decent in the air. Mwah. Can't really ask for more than that. Ideal for the ball winning midfielder role, just to, you know, protect the back four. And the other player we actually brought in, who was kind of like a direct swap for Chiembe, is actually Kabangu. Sorry, I'm getting mixed up. So it's Rutikanga, who was normally playing defensive midfield for us, and it's Kabangu who's coming in his place. Only 17 years old, this lad, but seems pretty decent technically, has some nice stats as well. Starting lineup wise, that is what we're going for. Luka Bacchio, of course, after scoring 2 goals up front against Egypt, has to start. Kitala, who was normally kind of playing up front for us, is now going on to the left, so it's like a direct swap between both Luka Bacchio and Kitala. And Lubala, who got 2 assists against Egypt coming off the bench, plays for Birmingham, pretty much for me has to start this game as a result of the performance against Egypt. On top of that as well, Njate is no longer playing on the right side of the back two. It's obviously Efete comes in to join in, and Stone Mambo drops to the bench. Tactically, we're going with 2 defensive fullbacks. Now, kind of looking at Burkina Faso, taking a look at their manager, I don't think we're going to see really too much of a surprise in comparison to the Egyptian guy, because this guy is kind of like 4-5-1, 4-4-2, 4-5-1, 4-5-1. So the chances are he's probably going to be playing 4-5-1 versus the other guy that had a wider range of formations, which is why he switched around so much. Plus, I mean, let's be honest with each other here. I can click on this guy, go edit instructions, and see that they're going to be playing a flat 4-5-1. So the idea is really, I feel like the fact that they're playing a flat 4-5-1 more than likely means that there's going to be space to exploit. And I'll show you what I mean. So if I go to here, there's obviously going to be space because it's going to be quite a flat midfield with these guys pushing up. Rather than him, he's probably not going to sit as deep as our defensive midfielder. So there is going to be room to exploit kind of in between the back four and the middle of midfield. And obviously we'll have 2 other midfielders to match the 3 in the park. We'll have a little bit more room, I think, a little bit more space between our 3 in midfield, along with the ball winner as well. So we should be pretty sound. We're going to have to be careful with pace on the counter-attacks. But because they only have the single striker up front, we are going to be playing with a slightly higher line. Now, obviously, we don't exactly have the fastest back four, but I've got no idea how fast this guy is. I know that he scores quite a lot in Burkina Faso, but I'm not really sure what that really means, to be honest. And this is why we really need to get another job and reach a point where we can actually scout the opposition. I mean, I do really feel like it is unrealistic because, like, if I'm a manager, I'm at least going to watch a few games to do with Burkina Faso, so it should still, by default, give me some stats, I think. I mean, I could log on to YouTube, see how fast the guy is, and get a rough idea of whether he's kind of like a pacey striker or a target man. But the game doesn't really give me anything, which is kind of disappointing. That's just my opinion, though. I might be wrong. Right defender is going to be a little bit more defensive. This guy's going to be a little bit more attacking. And because Lubala kind of like did really well as a more offensive winger, he's going to be a more offensive winger. Question now is, what am I going to do to try and exploit the space between their midfield and back four? Well, our advanced playmaker is going to be told to roam a little bit more. That way he'll try and operate more in pockets of space. If it feels like we're doing well, we're dominating the game, we'll probably ramp things up, get this fullback involved a little bit more, maybe move him up to an attacking midfielder and switch to just a flat 2 in the middle of the park. Instruction-wise, nothing too special really. I've gone a little bit wider than what we usually do, simply because they are going to be very wide, so we need to be able to match them. And other than that, it's pretty self-explanatory. More direct passing as always, try and switch from back to front relatively fast. I think I'll start on mixed, just to kick things off, and we'll always ramp it up later. Yeah, Lumanza is going to be told now try and distribute straight away to Luke Bacchio, and I'm also going to tell him, like, instead of that, over opposition defence, because I honestly feel like Luke Bacchio, as a poacher, is going to be playing on the shoulder of the last defender. And it doesn't matter at this level, like, this guy's 15 acceleration, 16 pace, he's going to get chances, with long balls over the top, so might as well. You might think as well, remove pass it shorter off these guys, but I don't want to just yet. Match preview wise, I obviously think that Burkina Faso are the favourites, which is natural given that they are the home team. Ideally for us, I mean, I'd be happy to come away with a draw. I do feel like we have a good team and we can win, if we have a good game. And I feel like, obviously, every away goal really counts. It's 30 degrees Celsius, so a little bit nicer than the weather in England at the moment. But yeah, let's let's get ready to rumble. Okie dokie, here we go. So, quite a few regions actually coming in for Burkina Faso. Obviously, we don't know much about them. Now, the good thing about the Egypt game was that going into the second leg, we obviously knew more about the players. So, I think the fact that we are kind of going into the second leg, where we're the home team, that should hopefully favour us versus what happened against Egypt, where we went into the harder leg with more information. But yeah, so here we go then. We are obviously trying out some new players, and as the players walk out of the tunnel, we get ready to go. What colour are we? Right, okay, we're blue. Just double checking, I think one of the main things that kind of worries me at the moment is our significant, it's quite a small pitch actually, is our significant lack of match fitness, because it's kind of the summer. So yeah, obviously we have a lot of players who don't really currently have teams. Is that a 4-4-2 that's coming out from them? Good head from Traore, but as usual, we managed to recycle. It's that kind of having three in the middle of the park that helps us up against direct opposition. So this guy, like we said, is kind of like a third central midfielder. What the hell was that? It's kind of like a third central midfielder, but it's probably on defend. So he is going to naturally drop deeper anyways. So Bangu is going to find Kitala, who passes the ball central to Kabangu. That's a really nice ball. Lubala's going to whip it in, but once again, we find ourselves offside. But so far, 2 minutes into the game, it's all us. Ball-winning midfielder is Salu, who is, of course, dropping deeper as that kind of defensive midfielder. They're playing, interestingly, with a defensive fullback, where Lubala is, and Traore on the left-hand side. No, right-hand side, sorry, for them, who's going to be a little bit more attacking. So, Bangu to Kabangu. Once again, very nice ball. Luka Bacchio is going to pick the ball up and is going to shoot straight into the hands of Sanu. Once again, the game is pretty much 100% DR Congo. But as we saw against Egypt, and we kind of saw at points against Kenya, oh, lovely ball, finish that. Oh, unlucky. But you can see that, you know, utilising his pace is working. But yeah, I'd say our main issue really has honestly just kind of been finishing chances. And I don't know if it's because I'm on comprehensive highlights, because, like, this is the first time I really play on comprehensive highlights this year, to be honest. So I don't know if it's just going to be one of them frustrating things where chances in the match engine, in the 3D engine, look really clear-cut, but they're not actually clear-cut. But anyways, Kitala to Kabangu. We're working this quite nicely. Don't really feel like we need to change things just yet. We're being caught offside a lot. I'm going to be honest, that didn't really look offside to me, but whatever. We have most of the possession, but I don't really feel like we need to kind of up the tempo just yet. Simply because, well, it's the away leg, and it's the home leg where we really, really need to win. And the fact that Burkina Faso haven't really shown anything just yet keeps me kind of positive that if we stay patient up until around the 30th minute before we ramp things up, that we could still find ourselves grabbing a goal. So Bangu takes a free kick, and it's going to bounce back out, but it's good that he wins the second ball. It's a bit of a poor cross, though. And, well, it looked like they were going to counter-attack there. Bangu whips the ball in once again onto the head. And, whoa, nice play there. Michi Effetti, well, I brought him into the side, and he went up for that set piece, and a really satisfying goal. Luka Bacchio as well. Obviously, we've discussed this before. He's kind of like one of our better players aerially. He really made a difference there, heading that ball down to the centre-back, who really, it was a bit of an easy finish for him, really. So, Burkina Faso, all we've seen so far from them is quite direct play. But because we're playing with a flat back four, they've really struggled to break us down. I feel like they need a second striker to cause us more issues. So we now have like a left-footed corner taker taking the right corner, and yeah, a right-footed taker taking the left corner. Here we go though, finally a chance for Burkina Faso. Not really pleased by how easy it was for him to get that header, but we build an attack yet again. It's been real nice link-up play between Lubala and the guys in the middle of the park. But we've just, once again, lacked that extra bit of magic, extra bit of quality once we do get the ball into the final third. Could be helpful to put the other winger on attack as well, but no real surprise to see that it is Lubalu who's getting the ball to him most of the time. Kabangu's had a pretty decent game as well. Okay, just before we pause things, Zongo finds Topsoba, and Effete, wow, what a game he's had so far. Can he find the space for the pace of Lubala? The answer is yes. He has decent crossing, does this lad. Kabangu gets tackled by Salu. Congolo is going to shoot, but I'm afraid that was closer, really, to the corner flag. It was more Emil Heskey-esque. So we're going to go to retain possession just for the last 5 minutes of this second half. Be a little bit more conservative. I'm not really sure whether or not we will be able to grab the second goal. At the moment, it's kind of like a game of chess. I guess you can argue most football games are kind of like a great ball. He's offside. Like a game of chess. But I'm kind of waiting to see what the Burkina Faso's manager's kind of next move is going to be. I'm also quite wary of the fact that we have 2 yellow cards in the middle of the park. So that might immediately have to be a position we'll have to look to change around the 60th minute. Team talk-wise, I'll just tell them to kind of like calm down. But again, Burkina Faso, all we've really seen is that direct ball forwards. Kital has just got injured, jumping up for the ball, and that does not look good. Good news, though, is that we have, obviously, a wide array of wingers, so it's not the end of the world. And logically, it's got to be Sambi Lokonga, or Lokonga, sorry, who comes on. Okay, so in terms of half-time changes, Rutikanga's going to come on for Bangu, simply because he didn't really react well to my half-time team talk. And, yeah, he's on 73% as opposed to Kabangu, who's on 82%. I'd probably tell him to start marking tighter a little bit less. And, yeah, Sambi Lokonga's now going to be on attack because he's now on the side where Burkina Faso have the attacking fullback, so hopefully, fresh legs, he'll find a little bit more room on that side. Lubala will drop down to be support, just try and help the rest of midfield out. And we do have to be careful with these yellow cards in midfield. So there we go then. Germain Su, an enthusiastic fullback, whatever that means, is going to be substituted on for Burkina Faso. Kalulu picks the ball up and, well, okay. That wasn't ideal, but our goalkeeper was more than ready. It still looks like it's a 4-5-1 from Burkina Faso, so nothing too drastic tactically. We know that their manager likes that 4-5-1. It's just a case of, instruction-wise, are we going to see anything different? You can see the fact that we've got them 3 wingers is forcing them to keep a lot of men back, and it's really, they're struggling to kind of break us down. I think I'd like to see us close down a little bit more, apply a little bit more pressure in midfield. You can tell that kind of like removing Mark Titer and telling them centre mids to calm down has kind of resulted in us sitting a little bit deeper. Luke Bacchio was a little bit isolated in the central areas too. So if there's offside. So I do really feel like come the 60th minute, it probably wouldn't hurt to maybe change one of our central midfielders to be an attacking midfielder. Just kind of like help Luke Bacchio, but most importantly, help us move into the final third a little bit better. Okay, so they've suddenly brought on a new striker. So what I am going to do is drop our defensive line a bit, no longer look to use the offside trap, but actually look to close down a little bit more. Rutikanga will be changed to attack again because I like toned him down to support. I wanted to like move him into these kind of positions here, but it's not really ideal because he can't really play there perfectly. So we'll leave him there, but just kind of tell him to get further forward. Rutikanga to Bowler, who finds Congolo, and again it's patient play. You know, well, okay, that's the thing apparently. Kabangu feels like he doesn't need to control the ball, but on the bright side, it allows us to draw their players out. It's just a case of what our wingers can do with it to move us into the final third. The answer is going to get tackled, but we win it again. I think we could benefit from trying to move it around a little bit faster, but yeah, that's not really ideal from Luke Bacchio there, is it? So, 70th minute, their goalkeeper's trying to become a central midfielder. Are we going to shoot from there? Luke Bacchio is going to beat the centre-back, but we win a corner. How was he offside there? Sorry. What? How on earth can that even be offside? So look, what? Can that be offside? I mean, they've kind of removed the rewind button, but I don't think that looked offside. I'm not sure. I think he kept him on, to be honest. Either way, I think we need to start bringing on fresh legs. So for that reason, it's going to be Rutikanga dropping down to our ball-winning midfielder. Chimembe now can come on as our kind of attacking playmaker here, but on support. Going to tell him to move into channels, dribble less and hold up Actually, no. Do I want to? Yeah, no, I'm not going to tell him to hold up the ball, because then he might not play some through balls forward towards Luka Baku, who we've already seen, does have pace to burn. Sambi Lokonga can now drop down to support as well. Back four-wise, I don't really feel like I need to change anything. As we approach like the 75th minute and whatnot, we might bring it back to kind of beat MR and ML, just to kind of get him a little bit deeper. Other than that, yeah, I think I'm relatively pleased with what I've seen. I'll just tell him to be a little bit more disciplined, given the fact that we are coming into the kind of like last few moments of the game. No. Okay, that's a thing apparently. 10 out of 10 bug. So let's do that again. Hopefully, just moving that extra player forwards a little bit. Yes, I mean, in theory, it could leave us defensively, or good save, defensively a little bit kind of open. But I've told him to mark him tighter and all that. And, oh God. This is kind of reminiscent of Egypt coming big at us in the last few moments of each game. Okay, 80 minutes now, so we'll do what we discussed. He can't actually drop down, which is disappointing. He should be able to drop down, which he most certainly can. He can basically become one of these. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that. And we'll go for this kind of like triangle in midfield. And I actually think that's all our subs, so there's not really much we can do within that regards. I feel like Congo are going to be throwing more men at us, so for that reason we'll drop down to the counter, but instead we'll actually increase our tempo a little bit and increase our passing directness as a result. And rather than work the ball into the box, I'm actually going to just look to pump ball into box and kind of hope we get kind of a little bit lucky and play Luka Bacchio in. So Lokonga is going to play the ball forwards, and we've made it 2-0. So that's 2 goals from 2 set pieces. I think it was very similar to the first goal that we scored, where Luka Bacchio headed it down to Efete, and this time round it was actually Efete who headed the ball down to Chimembe, who hasn't actually been on the pitch too long. So credit where it's due to them. I don't really care if it's... What on earth was that pass? I don't really care that it's taken 2 set pieces. We've been the better side altogether. It's the away leg. We've not really come... That's offside. Come on, ref. We've not really come to be too offensive. We've come to see lots of the ball, see lots of possession, frustrate the opposition, and just utilise the extra bit of individual quality that we have. And we know that it'll eventually shine through. And it's kind of like what I said, and it's why I was so disappointed to concede 2 silly late goals against Egypt, which I kind of think to an extent were undeserved over the course of 2 legs, is because when I kind of play with weak teams like this, I feel like weak defences can always be exploited as long as you're kind of structured and stay defensively sound. So an away game like this, if we'd come away with a draw, great, we'll just go more attacking at home, on home soil, and beat you there. But the fact that we've come away with 2 away goals is honestly massive, regardless of the fact that they were just set pieces. And I have to admit, the influence that Michi Efete has been outstanding, and I am really pleased with that result. And that is going to be it for this episode. So yeah, that leaves us in real good standing for the second leg. I do believe if we win the second leg, we then qualify for the Under-23s African Cup of Nations. So in terms of other teams that look like they've qualified, South Africa, well, I mean, obviously, are these just first legs? They're just first legs, but obviously a lot of good teams have been knocked out, like Egypt and Morocco and whatnot. So you never know. You never know, really. I think Senegal, Nigeria, Ghana, they're Cameroon, they're really going to be our biggest threats. But the fact that Cameroon could knock Ghana out as well could be really good for us. So it's going to be an exciting next few games regardless. And hopefully you've enjoyed this episode. Efete won player of the match. AFC Wimbledon centre-back really made a difference. It took 2 set pieces, but who cares? Because we won. And I definitely feel like going forwards, we definitely look a lot more solid now that Luka Bacchio is up front. But until next time, I've been Kyanite. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.